Hello and welcome to this Oak Tree English video on how to write an article for functional skills, GCSE and life. The Oxford Dictionary defines article as a piece of writing included with others in a newspaper, magazine or other print or online publication. So when you see the question on an exam asking you to write an article, you should start by thinking about your audience. Is it a magazine, a newspaper, a website? And the purpose. Audience can be analysed on a kind of matrix, along with style of writing. One axis runs from formal to informal, determining how much slang or contractions one might use. The other axis runs from personal to impersonal, depending on how many people you're talking to. If it's a general audience, such as a talk or report, it is impersonal. If it's written to one individual recipient, such as a letter or email, then it is personal. The article falls into impersonal and usually informal. This can change with the publication it's designed for. The Financial Times or an academic journal will have a higher degree of formality than something from a tabloid like the Sun or the Daily Mail. The purpose of the text will fall into one of four rough groups. Let's just populate this for a moment. So impersonal and formal would be a report. Personal and informal and formal might be a letter, for example, a letter to His Majesty the King, God bless him. And an email, of course, would be personal and usually informal. The purpose of the text will fall into one of four rough groups: persuasive, informative, descriptive, or instructive. I like to think of this as a PIDI for short. Persuasive would include any advertising material. Informative would be something giving information, such as a health and safety poster at work. Descriptive texts describe, such as a guidebook for an art gallery. Instructive is almost anything published by IKEA, instructing people how to put their shoe rack together. There will often be some overlap between the groups. An article will usually inform, but may have descriptive or even persuasive elements in it. Once you've identified your audience and purpose for your article, which should take no more than 30 seconds, it's time to make your plan. Never go into battle without a strategy. Never write an article without a plan. There are many ways to do this. See my video on how to plan for details. But the two which may work best for you are either planning like an artist or planning like a lawyer. If you have an artistic mind, then you can plan using a mind map. If you're more analytical in your approach, then a lawyerly plan with each sentence and paragraph numbered may be your friend. Have a look at this suggestion for this GCSE style question. Here it is. A teenage magazine, so you know who you're writing, who your audience is, has invited readers to write articles, so you know what you're writing is an article, on topics that people have strong views about. The latest topic is tattoos. You're given the topic, you know the topic. Are they just harmless fun and fashion, or something to regret later in life? You decide to write an article on the topic for the teenage magazine, giving your views, and then it says write your article. It tells you your audience, readers of a teenage magazine, the style, article, and even the topic, tattoos. Thereafter, it just takes you minutes to put your thoughts onto paper, making the writing so much easier. So, for example, you would put in the middle, tattoos. Then you'd put the case for them being fun. You'd put the case forward for them being a regrettable incident. And you may even put your own opinion. The alternative suggestion I have to help you plan is to do it like a lawyer. That is, plan each paragraph and then subdivide it into individual sentences. Look at this functional skills question. Again, you have the audience, magazine readers, the style, it's an article, and the topic, advice to your younger self. It even gives you some suggestions of what to write. Work hard, studies, jobs, hobby, sport, or confidence. You can also step outside that and give your own ideas if you wish. Now you can break it down into paragraphs and then further into individual sentences. I call this planning like a lawyer. Let's have a look at some paragraphs you might put into this. You put your intro, then advice, an explanation of that advice, and a conclusion. 4 basic paragraphs. You can break those down further into individual sentences or parts of the paragraph. So in your introduction, you'll rephrase the question. You'll always do that. You put in some advice. You talk about that. You will explain that you're going to give some advice, and you will explain that you're then going to give an explanation. The advice might be something useful like study grammar or read more classics, by which I mean things like Dracula and Frankenstein and Tesla d'Urbervilles. Learn some philosophy. And the reason, of course, would be grammar's cool, and it is so cool. Classic literature is fun, it really is. And philosophy changes your life. That's very true too. Then you would write a conclusion, and here you're going to follow the same pattern. Tell them what you're going to tell them, tell them what you've told them. So the conclusion here is, again, rephrase the question, then talk about the fact that you've given advice, then talk about the fact that you've given an explanation. That is how to plan like a lawyer. Articles have a number of organisational features by which you can recognise them. Some of these you should try to reproduce when writing, some you needn't. We'll look at them via this article from Cambridge University about using articles. That's the grammar word, not the type of article we're discussing here. If you're interested, I have another video for that. Columns, pictures, and photos. So columns like these ones, pictures like this one, and which is also, by the way, a photo, are all common organisational features found in an article, but you're not expected to use these in your own writing. Features you will be expected to make use of include headings like this one, possibly subheadings which break the text up into individual paragraphs, and you may even want to use author. In this case, a chap called Paul Rastall, who looks like my old headmaster. Not that that's relevant, but there you go. So these are things that you can use in your own writing. The heading is where you sum up the topic and the direction of the article in a few words at the top of the page. If you want to put a witty pun into it, so much the better. But you don't have to. You're not being marked. You're not being tested on your sense of humour. This should be marked out somehow, such as larger writing or at least underlined. You're probably not able to do italics or bold when you're writing by hand. Subheadings and straplines can give structure to your text by indicating what each paragraph is about. Please make sure they're recognisable as subheadings so they're not confused with topic sentences. The authorial attribution is an option. But like I say, this chap looked like my old headmaster. Right, let's move on to language features. And before that, please forgive me, I need to take a drink. That's better. I made a video with this thumbnail, which organises language devices into 4 areas as an alternative to the normal de Forest mnemonic. Those areas are content, language, imagery, and pronunciation. I call these the clip notes. CLIP clip. Hey! In each category, there are appropriate devices to use in articles. In content, for example, there's the classic fact and opinion, which is also the F and O of De Forest. Facts are statements that can be tested, while opinions are things that are believed regardless of the evidence. Remember that you needn't do extensive primary research before you enter the exam. The facts have to be testable, but no one will actually test them. Did you know that 85% of all statistics are made up, including that one? And making up statistics is entirely acceptable in an exam article, not in a real one. If you do that in a real one, you'll find yourself in trouble. In the category of language, you'll often see the rule of three employed effectively. The rule of three is where you have three things in quick succession, which are all related, and the human mind for some reason works on a basis of three, and therefore it makes that point memorable. In imagery, you'll find similes are your friends. That was a personifying metaphor. There we go. This is where you make a comparison using as or like. This is very appropriate in an article. A pronunciation device that may help you write an article would be alliteration. This is where you put words that begin with the same sound close together. The effect is that it makes it markedly more memorable. So in conclusion, to write an article for an exam, remember that it should be an informal and impersonal, informative piece of writing. It should be planned out either like an artist or a lawyer, depending on your own personality, and should include headlines and possibly subheadings. Make use of appropriate language features and, importantly, enjoy yourself. Thanks very much. I hope you've enjoyed this video on writing articles. If so, please remember to like, share and subscribe. Have a great day. Goodbye.